high school community is mourning the loss of recent graduate Lily Basil. Now, her family is sharing these photos with us. On Sunday, Franklin police responded to a shooting call after Basil was shot in her right arm. Once she was transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center, she was pronounced dead. According to court documents, 18-year-old Matthew Rufile admitted to shooting Lily Basil with what he thought was an unloaded AR-15 style rifle. The Page High School principal wrote in a statement today, Lily was a light. She was kind, sweet, and extremely respectful. Her smile lit up every room she entered. This week, counselors will be available at the school to support students and staff during this difficult time.
How many of you folks believe that you have a right to own this gun? How many of you believe that government doesn't grant you that right? That we the people don't give you the privilege of owning it, but that our Bill of Rights, our Constitution, merely enshrines it, stating that there is a fact that the universe, the Creator, gave you that as a birthright. Just like a cheetah has speed, or a bear has strength in claws and jaws, or a snake has venom, or a bird takes flight, or a fish can swim away, we, through the skills of our brain, have created these amazing tools that can be used to hurt. They can be the weapon used in the mass casualties of genocide and war. They can be used to harvest game. They can be used for enjoyment and fun. They can be used for violence in a criminal nature, and they can be used for violence in a righteous nature, and they can also be used for stupidity. I want to talk to you about this girl. Her name is Lily Basil. Lily was tragically killed just a couple of days ago, Franklin, Tennessee, suburb outside of Nashville. Just graduated high school. Look at her again. Had the whole world ahead of her, had her whole life ahead of her, and a friend of hers with an AR, an AR pattern rifle, negligently, accidentally, ignorantly, moronically, I'll say all of those things, but I'm sure this kid's beating himself up, thought it was unloaded, pointed it at her, pointed it at this beautiful young lady, depressed the trigger and discharged what is reported to be a .22 caliber bullet. It hit her, I believe, in shoulder or arm, according to the reports. And she died en route, or actually made it to the hospital. They tried to get her to the hospital, was transferred to EMS somewhere on the way, and passed away at Vanderbilt. Why? Number one rule, right? What's the number one rule? Don't point this thing at anything that you're not willing to shoot a hole in, to kill, or destroy. You know, when you destroy me, you shoot me, you kill me, you don't just destroy me, right? You destroy my family, my loved ones. It's not just a singular act of stupidity. And I'm sure this kid's life is forever altered. We, the people, have a responsibility. And I want to talk about this a little bit because there's folks in this community that feel that rights are endless, and there's people in this community that feel that rights have limitations, and there's people that feel that rights are a collective bargaining chip, and there's people that feel that rights are not rights at all, but there's things bestowed by the people, by government. I want to tell you a story before we get into that, and it's about when I was 12 years old. I was shot in the face by the BB gun, right? The thing that everybody that's my age and younger or older saw the Christmas Story, right? You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Well, I didn't shoot my eye out. Somebody else did. I was a pretty safe young man. I was crazy. I was a kid that jumped the dirt bikes. I was a kid that climbed the trees. I was a kid that jumped off the barn roof, did all those things, right? But for the most part, we were pretty thoughtful about the things that we played around with where there was risk, right? We built tree forts. We were careful. We made sure we had good spikes and screws. Just it's thoughtful as you can be as 10, 12, 13-year-old boys. But I was raised by some good people, some carpenters, some people like that around me that understood the methodology and the systems that we have to put in to risky practices. A BB gun, even the little BB guns that we were out plinking with that day, can kill you. In fact, in the hometown that I grew up in, a young boy was killed while other kids were playing with BB guns. The guy that did this to me took the vision in my right eye. At the time, I was pretty pissed. I still am. I mean, it forever altered my life. It stopped me from joining any type of military service, stopped me from doing a lot of things that I wanted to do in life because of the loss of vision. Whatever, life goes on, but somebody allowed him to have it, right? Without proper care and etiquette. And you know what? Age does not all of a sudden grant us good wisdom and judgment, right? That's why some states have slowly bumped up driving ages. It's why states have created drinking ages higher than 12 years old, right? It's why states have ages on getting married and having sex and making certain choices, because a lot of times we're not that smart when we're young, especially youngsters. There's a difference between book smarts and good judgment, right? You can learn all the facts, you can learn all the figures, you can do the arithmetic, you can remember the history, but that's different than wisdom. And that comes oftentimes from making mistakes. Too often in this community, we get past all this, the safety stuff. I'm done, man. I go to classes, I'm a competitor. I do the things. Well, are you teaching people? Are you a voice of reason in the community around you? This young lady need not have passed away. It makes me angry. It's a true and righteous anger that parents were robbed of their daughter, that a young man has destroyed his life, forever altered his life for something that he probably did not understand. Doesn't sound like it was malicious. It sounds like it was straight up stupid. And she, whatever beautiful life she may have had, whatever hardship she may have seen, whatever good, bad, and beauty that the world would have provided her, that's gone because of a fractional, tiny choice. The day that I lost the vision in this eye, it was a spring break. It was a lovely day. I don't think I've ever actually told this whole story in a setting like this. And I'm not scared to or anything. It's just, not something you chat about that often. I was grounded, actually. My father had grounded me during spring break. I don't remember why. But I talked my mom into letting me go out with my buddies. We lived in the country. And most of the time, me and these boys ride pond to pond. We'd fish. We'd skip stones, climb trees, look for deer, do wheelies, that kind of stuff, shoot BB guns. And I think most of us all had our own BB guns. Doubt any of us had on safety glasses. And usually, we'd go place to place looking for leaves to shoot, find pop cans and stuff like that. And never had one of us ever done anything like what happened that day until this one singular instant. And I can see it in my mind like it was 30 seconds ago. We were standing by a pond. The gentleman that owned the pond is long deceased. His last name was Thornton. No, it wasn't Thornton. Goldman. His last name was Goldman. This is 40 years ago almost, 30-something years ago. And I remember we're going to walk back to the house, and the boy turned. I looked at him. He said, "Hey," and I turned and looked, and he goes, "I hate you." And I was looking straight into the barrel of the BB gun. And I remember having a short flinch, and I felt a puff of air. And I said, "Holy crap, you shot me." And he goes, "Nah, it was empty. It was just the air." I took my hand off and blood went squirting out like a little fire hose. Spurt, 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 because it hit some arteries. Oh, that's great. That's great. End up in hospital, spent some days there. And the shock wave of that BB hitting around the globe of my eye created a hole in the macula of the eye. Do a little research. That's where all the good vision's at. And now I have a blind eye. Altered his life forever, I believe. Altered my young life. It sucked. My parents, who had a lot of kids, my father had to make tons of trips back and forth to doctor's appointments. It kind of fell on him because he had the ability to take me back and forth to these appointments. It was every month or 2 or 3 for a long time. I was going to eye surgeons and ophthalmologists and retina specialists and things like that. And thinking back, I owe my dad a real debt of gratitude, because I don't think as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old boy, I appreciated how much time that took out of his life. So just something as simple as that mistake that boy made that day. I didn't die, thankfully. It altered my life with taking half of my vision. Uh, but just the hardship it put on my parents. They weren't wealthy people. My dad was a minister, and now he's having to take, and it was like an hour drive one way to the doctor, I remember. It was like, I remember as a kid, I was like, this sucks. I don't want to sit in the car. I didn't fully appreciate them trying to get a better outcome for me, but just that kind of a hardship. Probably my parents being very worried, scared, brothers and sisters probably being scared and worried, and school friends and things like that. But none of that had to happen. None of this had to happen. I have a alert set up where when kids get shot, I want to see the news article. I don't have a sadistic brain where I want to read this crap. I hate reading it, but I want to hear about what happened. I talk about it in class. If you just anytime pick your phone up, go to your desktop, and just do a search on the internet about children being shot by mistake. Kid gets mom's gun out of the purse. Boy finds dad's gun in the dresser drawer, etc. It's over and over and over and over and over and over and over. Is the answer lock up firearms? Maybe. Is the answer not allow people to have firearms? Maybe. Is the answer to tell kids, hey man, if you're ever around somebody that's doing unsafe shit with guns, leave, get away, right? Maybe. There's a myriad of responses in the way that some people in the world say is we just want to ban all of these. Well, it ain't happening. It's not happening here. People are going to try, but it ain't happening here, right? It can happen over there, it can happen over there, it can happen down there, but it's not happening here, right? So what is the solution? We as instructors especially, and who's an instructor? Well, a mom or dad that's teaching their son or daughter firearm safety. Last year, it was one of the best days of last year in my memory banks. We took some friends of ours. They have 3 wonderful boys and a little girl, and they're the folks that own TA Targets. I get to visit with them when we do a class out there, and the boys are great, little guys, rambunctious farm kids, awesome dudes, and they've taken a shine to me. They like when I'm there to teach, and I wanted to do something for them. So we went and got some Red Riders. We got little kitty safety glasses. We got a million BBs and some things to shoot at. And man, it was fun. I got to sit in the yard, and their dad's an awesome shooter and an awesome hunter, so he could teach them. But I got to be there for an hour or two while those boys got to sit and shoot pop cans and shoot holes in pizza boxes and really hear about how to safely do it, what's a no-no, what's not allowed. And I told them in front of mom and dad, hey, if I ever hear that you guys did something bad with these, I'm going to come back and I'm going to saw them in half and throw them in the garbage, right? Unfortunately, sawing the thing in half and throwing it in the garbage after something bad happens doesn't fix it, right? But I wanted to impress upon them there will be a consequence if you can't handle the responsibility. And of course, mom and dad have these things locked up, just so you're aware. These kids are not like running around in the woods yet, right? As they reach a certain age. And I want to talk about that. Now, my folks loved me enough as a kid. I remember I begged. I wanted a firearm. I shot bows. I built bows. I shot slingshots, right? I did all that stuff. And I wanted a firearm of my own. My dad wasn't a gun guy. Kind of is now. But he was a city kid, and they moved out to the country, and I grew up out in the country. But I got an 870 Remington pump shotgun. I begged and begged and begged. And, kind of talking about Christmas Story again, it was kind of one of those situations. I was 14, maybe 15 years old, and I begged and begged and begged. And at that time, you could buy one of those for like $150 from Walmart or a sporting goods store. Long gone are those days, right? And all the presents are over. My parents had 11 kids. At this point, maybe there was 10, 8 kids. Kind of selfish of me to think like I want this big expensive gift, but they made it happen. My dad got me that shotgun, and all the presents are done. And my dad did the old like, hey, I think there's one more under the couch. And I pulled it out, and sure as heck, it was a Remington box. I still have the box all these years later. It was a Remington box, 870 pump, just the cheap express, matte black, nothing fancy. I shot 87 billion in 2 corn cobs that I threw by hand. I mean, I would sit and feed that thing till my thumb was throbbing. I loved it. Never did we ever do anything stupid with that gun. In fact, when my brothers were young, because I was the oldest boy, we would take it out every couple months, and I'd find something like this, like a block, and I'd put the block out on the range, and we'd put a slug into the gun, and I'd blow that block apart and show them just how damaging it could be. Maybe we'd grab a pumpkin or a cantaloupe or a jug of water, and I'd blow something up, and I'd say, check that out, F around with this, and that's what would happen. None of us, you'd blow your leg off, you'd blow your head off, it'd kill you. It'd kill you. Think about that. Don't be scared of it. Don't F around with it. And I know these boys are now men. My youngest brother's pushing 30. Most of us are in our 40s. Excuse me, I'm knocking at 50. It's a chilly day here in May. We're having hot tea. And they're all very hyper serious about safety stuff. And it's not just because of the conversations I had. It was other things. My brother Tom, tower climber, skydiver, teaches high tower rescue stuff, rope work, all that kind of business. My brother John went to the Coast Guard, worked rescue stuff from the radio perspective, super hyper specific skill set that he took very seriously and excelled at. A couple other brothers, Joe also climbed towers. David did it once in a while. Every single one of us, my brother Daniel worked on a lobster boat in the Atlantic. Every single one of us has done something that had a level of risk and never got injured at it because we approached it methodically. What's important now? What steps do I need to take to mitigate risk? And how can I instill that in the people around me? How can I create a culture of it? I got a phone call yesterday from a good friend. If he sees this, I don't want to call him out, but he'll know who I'm talking about. He's one of our staff at S12. This guy has got like 500 skydives. He was a professional dancer, super high level golfer. It's one of those guys you just hate because like everything he does super well. Excellent shooter. And I know he's got some other things in there that he's kicked ass at as well. And he called me and we're talking. And it really made me feel kind of bad in the moment. And he explained himself, but he said, at your events, you're kind of like, like a harsh drill instructor. And I don't pretend to do anything military. I don't ever want anybody to think we're trying to like play military. But what he was saying is I'm pretty harsh in a sense of what we demand for safety and the systems that we're instilling. And he said, well, you've got 40, 50, 70 people sometimes armed, and I'm in charge. And it's not just me. Paul Sharp is there. Z Durham's there. Rob's there. There's all kinds of people. Ben Simonson from Boresight Solutions, my D-Day guys. There's tons of different people involved. But in the end, it's my event. And he was saying he understands why I play the part I play. And I said, all right, I get it. It's important that we approach these things. One, we've got hard limits. What do I mean by that? You've got on an engine, a governor, it only allows the throttle to open so far. And it's not even for safety sometimes for the rider or the machine user, but maybe you'll blow the engine up and damage it, which I guess could be a safety issue. We've got guardrails on the road. We've got colored lines. We've got reflective things. We've got these areas where we know if I go beyond these things, beyond these areas, I'm going to have an issue. We've got to start thinking about this, not just in the training with the firearm, not just in doing dangerous shit, but in how we approach life. And it's not just all safety. It's what systems am I instilling into myself? What thing am I trying to do today? I've been injured. I've been sharing videos. I've got some cervical damage a year and some change ago. And I've been all around me on the floor. There's kettlebells, there's weights, there's cable pulleys, there's pull-up bars, dip bars, and all this crap. And I'm trying to rebuild muscle. People are telling me in comments, hey man, keep your midlife crisis to yourself. It ain't a midlife crisis, man. I'm not going to just quit because something broke on me, right? What's the system? And here's, I guess, the message today. Here's what I want to leave you with. My eye, whatever. This, not whatever. That happened because of a failure of systems, a lack of systems. And in a sense, not having an operating system or a system with how we approach things is, in fact, a system, right? It's the no system, and it sucks. It sucks. Something we talk about in class. How many of you drive down the road and you've ever been on your phone? Just be honest. You've read a text, you've looked at Facebook, you've read an email, you've checked shit out on the internet. How many of you have ever been in your car and you've done that? Raise your hand. You know it's wrong, right? You know it's stupid, you know it's wrong. But you're good at it, aren't you? How many of you have ever seen somebody else on their phone, texting, looking at stuff? What do you do when you see somebody else? You're driving and you see somebody else on their phone. What do? I bet you do something like this. Look at this idiot on his phone, risking all of our lives. What the heck? Your wife or girlfriend's in the car, or your buddy, you're like, look at this guy. Look at him. And then you're like, can't believe it. What a moron. What's good for me isn't good for him because I have skills he doesn't. It doesn't work that way. If our awareness is here, my awareness isn't here on the road. If my awareness is here, my awareness isn't there. If my awareness is here, it's not here. That's why we shift. We focal shift, right? As we're driving. We have to create systems where we don't allow certain people in our life, not just this word like toxic people, but somebody that can't adhere to a certain level of safety, a certain level of professionalism, doing risk heavy things. What do I mean by that? Jet skiing, downhill skiing, backpacking in weather conditions, desert, high altitude stuff, working on a roof, working around heavy equipment or dangerous equipment like farm equipment. You name it, man. I have some family friends near our community. They are 4 generations of farmers. These boys grew up, they're adults, 40, 50, 60-year-old men, and one of them lost their finger last year on a machine that they grew up using. They know how to teach people on. Tiny lapse of judgment, just a tiny lapse of judgment, and there goes a finger. We like to use really simple ideas like, it's my right, it's my right. It's your right, but there is a responsibility that comes with that right, and that is a studious level of behavior. That is a right, but if we are true with ourselves and we don't want to just read cute shit on the internet and we want to get serious, not just about the founders' intent. Let me derail the conversation for a minute. The founders were light years ahead of their time. They created this amazing launch pad of this thing that has become our republic, but they didn't know everything. For God's sake, the militias that were formed, some of them existed to keep slaves enslaved because the British said, hey, any of you enslaved people want to come over to our side, we'll get you freedom. And the colonists says, crap, we better create basically police forces to keep these plantation workers, enslaved people locked up. Everything they did wasn't awesome. So I'm not one of these people that's going to pretend that. But there was a starting point, a launch pad. That's our lives, right? None of us go through life. There's not a day goes by that I don't lay my head down and take an account And I go, damn, I screwed up this, I screwed up that, I screwed up this. And I'm not beating myself up. I once did. Now I go, how can I deal with that tomorrow better if that thing comes up? If this thing approaches me again, or if this problem comes up, or if I feel this way again, how can I react or behave or employ a different technique or tactic to get a better outcome instead of doing the weak ass thing that I'm feeling bad about now? The growth of our republic is no different than the growth of our lives, man. People screw up. They screwed up, but they still created this great cause of liberty that now, if we want to keep hold of, shit like this shouldn't happen. And I don't hold this up, nor in any way, shape, or form want to use Lily's life as a piece of leverage. That's not why. But when I saw this, I said, man, I want to share this girl because this sucks. I want her name to be remembered. I want what happened to her to be remembered so that it doesn't happen to another young girl. I want dads, moms, uncles, aunts, grandparents, as you're teaching kids driving, shooting, adulting, to have a sense of ownership for the world around them. Don't point this thing at anything you're not willing to shoot, kill, destroy. Don't just say it. Live with that, right? Don't put things into the world that you wouldn't want put off on you or your kids. Think about that. Think about that. I was at a store today and there was a really grumpy young lady behind the register, and I thought, man, I wonder what her problem is. And I thought about it. She was probably a little younger than my kids. I said, some dude's daughter. She wasn't like mean to me. She was just really grumpy. And I thought about it. I thought that's some girl's, there's some dad's little girl, right? There's some mom's little girl. I'm not suggesting we just forego having opinions on people's bad or crappy behavior. Put shit out in the world that you want, man. Be about it. It's not just what's got the cooler red dot, or what's the cooler class, or what's the cooler drill, man. All that stuff is fun. But what's the bigger picture? I mean, this is the bigger picture. That's the bigger picture. What else matters? What else matters? Your shooting match, does that matter? Does you getting another compensator on your next pistol matter more than this? Does your kid getting what he wants, like a rifle that he kept in his trunk, like the one that took her life? Sounds like accidentally. I hope that there's no bad intent found, but he's already been charged with homicide. Is you giving your kid this thing that he's not ready to have more important than her? I don't know what the simple answer is, but I know, simply put, if we start to teach people and act it ourselves to give a shit, to care more about others than we care about our own selfish needs, this stuff won't happen. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. Develop systems in the things that you do in your life that give you the outcome that you want. If you're talking about fixing a busted arm, there's got to be a system that's best to do it. If you're going to be a surgeon, if you're going to be a dentist, if you're going to be a pilot, if you're going to be a school bus driver, if you're going to be a cook, if you're going to be a chef, if you're going to lay concrete or brick for a living, or roof or milk goats, there is a system that will help you get that done. I'm not talking about some online system. I am talking about how you approach it with a concept of excellence in care, that what you put into the world leaves it better. And this ain't better, man. Do something about it. Teach your kids and then do it. Deeds, not words.